seemed to be pretty stable in that. 50 minutes to an hour apiece, it seems like. The informant, named Sato-san, had me get into his car before he set off. He favored narrow roads and made numerous short left turns.
左折法による尾行確認ですか？
詳しいな。
Checking to see if you were being tailed by making left turns was a rather classic technique. If it was just a single pursuer, you could confirm it that way. But if you were being tailed as a team, this archaic method wouldn't let you shake them. Of course, doing it anyway was better than not.
Akasaka 君が何者かは旦那から何も聞いてないんだが、やっぱり警察関係かい？尾行確認に詳しいなんて、あとは探偵者くらいしか思いつかねえね。
言わなければならないものでないなら拒否したい質問です
ね。やれやれ。麻雀やってからすっかり雰囲気が大人びちまったな。
Funny that.
会った時のあのおどおどしたあんたはどこ行っちゃったんだよ。
I smiled wryly. Looking back now, I had to be a little grateful for being made to play Mahjongg. Thanks to that, I was able to relieve some tension. Eventually, Sato-san, confirming that there were no cars following us, slipped outside the city. We were on a pitch-black country road, unable to see anything besides the lights outside. The only things I was able to hear were the hum of the car's air conditioning and the chirping of insects and frogs.
旦那からひなみ沢村については多少のことは聞いてんだろう？
御三家という旧家による支配や、現在は園崎家が一党独裁をしているとか、そういう話ですか？
そこまで知ってるならくだらない前置きは省略していいな。
ではお願いします。犬飼大臣の孫の誘拐に鬼ヶ淵死守同盟が関与しているか否かを。
Sato-san checked the rearview mirror one more time to confirm there wasn't anybody behind us before speaking.
昨夜園崎本家で親族会議が開かれたそうだ。親族会議ってのは旦那から聞いてるか？
いえ。
普通に親族会議って言ったらまあ親戚が集まってお茶でも飲むようなもんだよな。だが園崎本家の親族会議っていうのはそんなのんびりしたものとはわけが違う。
A family council held by the Sonozaki main house. That would be a meeting between those who truly controlled Hinamizawa village. They wouldn't be talking about private family matters. It would be about the village as a whole. About organizing activities against the dam project. Among other things, everything would be decided there. In reality, they were deciding the fate of the village. At the head of the meeting was Oryu Sonozaki. More or less called Empress Sonozaki, as the ultimate decision-maker of the clan, she was to be feared and respected. Infirm with old age, she was often unable to stand on her own, but her words carried enough weight to sway the fate of the village. It seemed lately she had grown weak, and on days where she wasn't feeling well, she remained bedridden. Family councils that occurred while she wasn't feeling well took place with her on the floor. In the middle of a dignified Japanese-style room, still in a futon, only the upper half of her body sitting upright, a stern look on her face, that was Oryu Sonozaki. Sitting next to her was her heir, Mion Sonozaki. She was still young. No, young wasn't quite the right word. She was a girl who remained childish. Her role was to merely sit beside Oryu Sonozaki, sometimes responding to her requests. However, she was the only one deemed worthy to succeed Oryu. She had the same hawkish eyes, enough to give pause to anybody who so much as looked at them. Much was expected of her in the future, this granddaughter of the Sonozaki's leader. And also, on either side of her, sat several other important members of the remaining three families, the Kimiyoshi family and the Furude family. First on the list for the Kimiyoshi family was, of course, the mayor of Hinamizawa village, Kiichiro Kimiyoshi, and lined up beside him were several more of his direct relatives. Opposite them sat the other of the three families, the Furude family. The Furude family was only comprised of the family of the Shinto priest, so the only ones sitting there were said priest, his wife, and their daughter Rika. Rika was doted on by many of the older folks in the village, and it seemed that Oryu was no exception. While the stress from just attending a family council was said to be enough to shorten your lifespan by 3 days, it seemed like Rika was the only one exempt from that. No matter how charged the atmosphere was around her, she paid it no mind, instead humming along as she doodled in a sketchbook. In fact, the night before, lying on her stomach while humming and doodling, she nonchalantly tucked her legs into Oryu's futon like it was a kotatsu. All this was the three families. And all around the room, lined row upon row, were relatives of the Sonozaki family. The only ones who were afforded cushions to sit on were direct relatives. The others were left to sit in the seiza position directly on the tatami mats. With Empress Sonozaki enshrined at their center, they were almost like a giant snake coiled around the room. It was decided that everybody would sit in order of their rank. The number of people from the Sonozaki family was overwhelming. The fact that the Sonozaki family held so many seats at a meeting where everything pertaining to the village was decided made determining where the balance of power was held in the three families as clear as day. The number of members in attendance from each of the families directly reflected how much influence they had in ruling Hinamizawa.
その会議で何が話されたんですか?
Sato-san, after remaining silent for a while, quietly began to speak.
マスコミ関係に支払ってる謝礼金の額が大きいんじゃないかい?
Breaking the long moment of silence was the head of the Kimiyoshi family, Kiichiro Kimiyoshi. The Onagafuchi Defense Alliance wasn't a business. They were nothing more than a private organization pushing for the cancellation of the Hinamizawa Dam project with no reliable source of income. Fundraising had always been a problem. When they first started operating, they managed to collect a sizable amount of funds through donations, but as the conflict dragged on, that amount was steadily declining.
石を投げるだけが全ての時代じゃないさ。マスコミの力も侮れないのは重々承知しているし、今後もその力を借りたいのは同じさ。
The expressions of the people related to the Sonozaki family were sullen. As the one who suggested that they borrow that power was the family head, Oryu Sonozaki. The battle wasn't just about the force of arms. In this civilized age, there were civilized methods of fighting. Oryu suggested that, creating a strategy incorporating the mass media. Oryu's foresight was spot on, and the effects of that plan, while at first unclear, slowly began to manifest. If the physical confrontation at the construction site was meant to delay progress on the dam by even 1 day, then the propaganda war using the media was aimed at attacking the dam project itself. At first, there were those who had doubts about that strategy, but there was nobody now who called those results into question. But in order to maintain those media ties, a colossal amount of money was required. As long as the amount of funds they had was abundant, things would turn out fine. It couldn't be argued that it was a massive expense, but the results spoke for themselves. But with the conflict continuing to drag on, the circumstances had changed. The head of the Sonozaki family, no, the one who sat at the pinnacle of Hinamizawa's three families, Oryu, had suggested the idea herself, so it was already untouchable, and continued to be allowed to drain from the budget. Nobody acknowledged that it should be so allowed, but nobody could say anything. That was the price of dealing with the mass media.
どう思う？お嬢さん。
The only person who could object to a plan proposed by the head of the Sonozaki household herself was probably Mayor Kimiyoshi. Oryu, with a hard-to-define expression on her face, as if she had severed herself from the fetters of mortal emotion, simply listened quietly to Kimiyoshi's words. But really, it was hard to tell if she was quietly listening or didn't even have the intention of listening at all.
去年機関士の値上げの理解を得るのにも随分苦労したじゃない。一度だけってことで理解を得て、また今年もってわけにはいかないよ。ねえ、古手さん。
The mayor looked to the priest and his wife from the Furuta family for affirmation. The priest gave a vague expression, avoiding a prompt response. But his wife gave her answer without a second thought.
そうですね。機関士代は特に貧しい家には大きな負担になっています。みんな自分たちの村のためだからと耐えていますが、これ以上の値上げはやめた方がいいでしょうね。
The bulletin was, as its name implied, a bulletin published by the Onagafuji Defense Alliance. It outlined the Alliance's activities, ideals, and resolve, but you couldn't deny the contents were rather piecemeal. The bulletin's main goal wasn't to inform people, but rather was something to sell to businesses and people living in the village or connected to it, and using those sales to collect funds. In other words, it had become something of a tax. Of course, it didn't have to be said that this was one of the main sources of income for the Onagafuji Defense Alliance. Originally, purchase was supposed to be voluntary, but in Hinamizawa, it had silently become the opposite. In the neighboring towns as well, it seemed that many businesses were buying copies just to avoid butting heads with the Alliance. The priest whispered to his wife to not say anything unnecessary, but was struck down with a decidedly cold glare. Cowering from that glare, the priest shut his mouth. The priest's wife always held the power in their relationship. That was because she was the one who carried the Furude bloodline. The priest merely married into the family. He was nothing more than somebody who adopted the name just to join the three families. He should have been able to find a spot fairly high up in the hierarchy of things, but the lack of authority in his voice meant that he had still not gained any favor. Casting a backwards glance at her rather disparate parents, Rika continued to doodle whimsically without paying them any mind. Signaled by a look from Oryu, Mion brought her ear closer to her grandmother. There, something was said to her in a quiet voice. After responding with a couple of questions, with a nod from Oryu, Mion looked around the room and conveyed her grandmother's words.
機関士の値上げもやむを得ません。
Kimiyoshi made a face like he had just bitten into something unpleasant, but that expression quickly disappeared like it never happened at all.
だけどミオンちゃん君だって分かってると思うけど、機関士の負担は決して軽いものじゃない。ひなみ沢の全ての人間にかかる重みなんだ。あんまり負担をかけすぎれば内部から崩れることだって。
内部から崩れるのは誰ですか？
どれって別にそういう意味じゃ。
最初に崩れるのは誰かと聞いています。
Being cross-examined by a girl who still had fragments of childishness remaining within her, the words stuck in Kimiyoshi's throat as he sunk in silence. Mion repeated her question once more, looking around the crowded room. Everybody refrained from making eye contact to avoid being pierced by her gaze. The words she had spoken were unarguably said in proxy for Oryu. That's why when Mion spoke them, they carried the same weight. Yeah, doing a good job of being the leader of a mafia. That's why when Mion spoke them, they carried the same weight. But the look in her eyes was different. Like Oryu's, they had a hawkish gaze, strong enough that anybody looking upon them would freeze in their tracks and yield. But that gaze was, without question, one that belonged to Mion herself. As Mion would eventually inherit everything from Oryu, the day when she would stand up as a young and capable leader in her own right would come. Nobody wanted to believe otherwise for even a minute. That's why nobody even thought of Mion as just some sort of little kid.
君吉さん、機関士の値上げごときでは誰の決意も崩れませんよ。
Kimiyoshi, while grumbling a little bit, made a gesture as if to say he had no objection.
マスコミ関係への出費は継続とします。その出費がさらに圧迫となるようなら機関士の値上げもやむを得ない。
Mion had rendered her judgment. Everybody bowed their heads, silently listening to her words.
園崎家当主代行園崎美音です。我が名において以上決定し、決定の効力は即日発行されるものとします。異議はこれを認めず、抵抗ある場合は実力をもって排除します。
Eep. The formal decree was read aloud, indicating her judgment. There would be no retrial, but there was a certain authority behind those words that even a courthouse couldn't compare to. If she was to judge, she would have banged her gavel, signaling that the matter was settled. Mion pulled out a large bell from inside her clothes and rang it. Everybody present could only prostrate themselves before the harsh sound of the bell.
なんとも大時代的な親族会議ですね。
あんたみたいな若いもんにはちょっと信じられないだろうけどね。こういう古い土地にはこんなのが未だ根強く残ってるもんさ。
It was exactly as Ooishi had said. The old system of the three families had vanished, and now the Sonozaki family was running things by themselves. On top of that, their rule was borderline despotic.
会議はそれで終わりですか？
いや、まだ続く。先を続けるよ。
Eventually, after the ringing of the bell ceased, there was a deafening silence. Within all of that, a lone man shuffled closer to Mion and whispered something in her ear. Mion asked several questions quietly in response. When she was satisfied, she motioned for the man to leave. The man who talked to Mion was a member of a gang that her father was the leader of. That organization had the entire area of Shishibone City under its control, so it was quite well known even here. Mafia. Telling you. Of course, this was just talking about the criminal underworld, so it's not like just anybody would know. But just showing a patch with the gang symbol on it was enough to resolve any disputes in the neighborhood. Mion's biological father, to Oryu, was her daughter's husband. The power of that man's gang was the driving force that controlled the dark underbelly of the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance. And so that man, from his position as the next in line to control the three families, continued to coerce everybody around him with his unconventional presence. Mion exchanged a look with her father. Was it okay for her to tell what she just heard directly to Oryu? It looked like she was asking him that question. Her father gently, but firmly, nodded his response. Mion also nodded, then sidled up to Oryu and informed her of something. Eventually, Mion finished conveying her message, separated herself from Oryu, and fixed her posture, waiting for Oryu to signal her response. It wasn't often that Oryu showed any emotion. That's why, when she started to laugh quietly, a vague sense of uneasiness crept over everybody in the room.
そら、難儀なこともあったものよの。
Oryu was laughing so happily that Kimiyoshi had to hesitantly ask.
どうしたんだい、お嬢さん。
我らにとって土地が母なら、この度のダムの騒ぎは 母の命を脅かされる騒ぎっちゅうことだろうな。
Himayoshi, unable to comprehend the meaning of her words, looked confused. Oryu, with a wide grin on her face, turned towards everybody and addressed them in a clarion voice.
ダムの親玉の大臣がの、孫さらわれちまって、右往左往しとるっちゅう話だ。こんれでおあいこだの。
バカな。
Information on the kidnapping of Minister Inagai's grandson shouldn't have been leaked from anywhere. How did they know? Even we didn't know much about the kidnapping incident. Exactly how did an antiquated household so far away from Tokyo come to know of it? It was a tranquil place, but I couldn't help but have an uneasy feeling about Hinamizawa village. At some point, I had mentally filed this place away as unrelated to the incident at hand. The mental paperwork had just blown away in the wind.
どうして鬼ヶ淵氏主導名が知っているんだ。
Sato-san, unable to come up with an answer, fell into silence.
すみません。続きをお願いします。
なあ。
犬飼建設大臣のお孫さんがさらわれた。お嬢さん、それは本当かい？
That major of an incident was nowhere to be seen in the newspapers or on TV. But in Hinamizawa, there was nothing strange about Oryu knowing something that the rest of the world didn't.
それに値するとは思わんが、孫を失う痛み。
You know, I don't really want to check with everyone we've ever talked about it with. I don't want this to turn into a Tex Murphy game.
少しは答えるといいんじゃがの。なあ。
The last question wasn't addressed to anybody in particular. It was as if she was looking for consensus.
だが、土地と人様の子供ではわけが違う。
Evil laughing, yeah.
隠すのは構わんが、怪我だけはさせたくないものよな。
Well, if there was ever any doubt whatsoever, I think that pretty much proves it.
ここには何の罪もねえ。大事にしたれな。
それはつまり鬼ヶ淵氏主導名が誘拐事件に関与しているということ。
うん。必ずしもそうとは言えねえな。
どうして当主であるお涼がこれほどまではっきりと誘拐した孫の処遇について指示を出しているのに。
兄さん、これはね、園崎家のいつものことなんだよ。
いつものこと？それはどういう意味です？
Let's say there was a particular problem. Let's say there was a particular problem, one that wasn't exactly favorable for the Sonozaki family. If Oryu shows concern over that particular problem, hearing that, somebody who attended the family council would be helpful. As a result, Oryu's wish would be granted. However, neither Oryu nor anybody else would know who actually did it. With this kind of clever little ploy, the Sonozaki family was able to manipulate events even though they had their hands laid out on the table.
では、親族会議に出席していた誰かが犯人ということですか？
あるいはそもそも犯人なんかいない可能性だってあるよな。俺自身、その万座の一同の中に誘拐犯がいるって確信を持ってるわけじゃない。ただ、自分の意見を述べただけさ。
Except she did say she didn't want the kid hurt, which kind of implies that she has some discretion over how the kid is treated. It was an odd and unpleasantly secretive way of doing things. Were they involved or weren't they? I couldn't see beyond the veil. This much, however, I could say with certainty. The kidnapping was an ironclad secret. No matter how high a position somebody was in, even they wouldn't know about it. If there was somebody who would know about it, they would be connected to public safety. In other words, one of us. The only other options were people connected to the case itself. Including the minister, there would be people affected by the incident, or the people that committed it. In any case, there was no way an old household in a place removed from Tokyo by over 6 hours of highway travel should know about it. Them knowing it all was already strange. My suspicions began to accumulate, like falling snow.
孫の誘拐について俺が述べたのはここまでだ。あんたの知りたかったことが含まれてりゃいいんだがな。あとは兄ちゃんの仕事だな。何のお仕事やってるか知らんけど、園崎家を相手にするなら相当の覚悟でやっとけよ。大石の旦那は怖いもの知らずだけどな。あれでも 2,3 回は襲われてる。最近は来てないけど、一時はオフの時も防塵ベストを着込んでたんだよな。
ええ。忠告ありがとうございます。気をつけることにします。
So, I'm not the only one that wants to see Ooishi get stabbed. Good to know.
標準語が流暢だよな。兄さんは東京とかの人？
え？それが何か？
Investigators were always close to danger. It was best not to divulge any information on myself.
兄さんのお仕事だけどさ、ひょっとして警視庁の公安部の人ってことある？
I couldn't remain silent here. It'd be the same thing as admitting it.
え？まさか。
こっから旦那からもらった金の範囲には入らないんだが、兄さんとは今日宅を囲んだ仲間だからな。サービスってことで話してやるよ。お寮から誘拐の話が出た後、もう一つ話題が出たんだ。
Another topic Oryu brought up? And right before he told me this, Sato-san asked if I was from the Metropolitan Public Safety Division. In other words, what those two things meant caused a chill to run up my spine.
そんででな、大臣の孫サラッターノを調べるために東京からはるばる公安の捜査官が派遣されてくるっちゅう話だ。
イエーイ！
公安の捜査官。
大臣の孫の誘拐な、うかつにゃ大ごとにできゃんってことで、警視庁の公安部が独自で調べとるっちゅう話だ。はっ、大行なこったの。 どうした
Rika, who had been drawing the entire time and was completely uninterested in the conversation up until now, looked at Oryu with an interested face as soon as the topic of public safety came up.
警視庁が来たのですか
リカちゃまは警視庁も知ってなさるんかいえらいの
誰が来たのですか
公安のどんな奴が来やったんか誰ぞわかる奴はおらんかいな
Mion's father raised his hand slightly.
新米の若造が一人と聞き及んでおります。
新米ほかほかなのですか
んええ、はい。新米とか。
Mion's father smiled wryly as he answered Rika's question.
ほかほかのふかふか
ええ。
ほかほかのふかふか
Rika smiled with interest. Why did Rika suddenly act interested only when it came to this topic? That was a question that nobody apparently had the answer to.
リカちゃまはその男のこと何か知っているのかな
There's a pretty good chance they literally mean fresh meat.
知んないのですよ
After her rather flat reply, Rika buried herself underneath Oryu's futon again. But when she buried herself in there, Rika no longer started drawing again. Instead, she was making an expression like she was deep in contemplation.
どうしますかお母さん。
Mion's father posed the question. He had the type of uncouth expression on his face indicating that, given the order, he could snuff the problem out at any time.
はるばるひなみざまで来よったしばらくはのんびりさせてやるのもよかろ
泳がせろということでしょうか。
Mion's father asked in response. Oryu smiled thinly as she responded.
ほっといたれながあんまりおいたが過ぎるようやったそん時は遠慮せんとな舐められるのはすっきゃせんね
なんて話があったそうだまさかあんたその警視庁の新米じゃないよな
まさか
The sensation of cold, bristling fear began to crawl its way up my back. The family council took place last night. In other words, yesterday. Then today, when I was dressed up as a tourist headed towards Hinamizawa, my cover was already blown? When I remembered the first person I met with when I got to the bus stop, I couldn't breathe. The person at the family council expressed interest in the man being dispatched from the Metropolitan Police, Rika Furude. And then the person who was waiting for me the whole time in the bus shelter, Rika Furude. It was an unthinkable image. No, it was a delusion. When we met at the bus shelter, did Rika-chan already know my true identity? Did she know that I was Akasaka, dispatched from the Metropolitan Police Department, and come to meet me? Then, including Mayor Kimiyoshi, every villager that I met, everybody knew but just pretended not to? Because Oryu had given instructions not to interfere? Thinking about it logically, it didn't seem possible. I met quite a number of people. If there's people that are that good at acting, then there's people who are bad at hiding things. If there was that many people, then there should have been somebody among them who knew I was from public safety, and couldn't hide their hostility. However, I didn't feel any presence like that. But then, even still, why did Oryu tell them to leave me alone? Because if they were careless about it, it would raise only more suspicion? Or was it because they believed a rookie like me wouldn't be able to find anything? Akasaka is a coward. I recalled that strange voice which could only make me believe that Rika-chan had been possessed. That unknown entity, no matter how you looked at it, knew my true identity from the get-go. And then, how did it warn me again? That's right. It warned me to hurry up and go back to Tokyo. Instead of the very realistic worry that the Onagafuchi Defense Alliance had discovered my identity, the absurd worry brought on by the unknown girl struck with me more. What exactly was that girl? What was the thing I would eventually regret? That mysterious girl, Rika Furude. Let's stop this. Everything I was thinking of right now is merely conjecture. Tomorrow, first thing in the morning, I'll report everything I heard right now to HQ and await further orders. There was no mistaking that the possibility the Onagafuchi Defense Alliance were related to this case was there, and the fact that my cover was blown meant I was in a precarious position. But, as everybody at HQ was already extremely busy, they might not be able to spare the support.
もういいかい? よければ好きなところまで送るよ。
すみません。では、お会いした元の駅までお願いします。
A rural road where even a streetlight was rare. I couldn't see anything. I wasn't aware of anything but the asphalt that was lit up by the headlights. Outside of that light, was it simply darkness? Or was there something lurking there, waiting to strike? I had to think I drew the short straw here. I wanted to go back to Tokyo. For some reason, the voice of the girl warning me to go back to Tokyo still lingered in my head. And short chapter. This one only lasted about a half hour. 3 new tips. The investigation runs around.
昨日銀座の料亭でお会いしてね。
Yeah, this is a really smart dude. Especially in comparison to Keiichi. My god. I like him. I'm going to be sad when he gets killed horribly. Because we know that's coming, don't we? Either he will be killed horribly or he will be made to wish he was dead.
そういう話が出たんだよ。
別室の謁見でしょう。連中、公安に干渉しすぎですよ。あまり迎合すると悪い洗礼を残しますね。
犬飼大臣は公安の動きに不快感をあらわにしているらしい。多分月曜の町議で次官からその旨の話が出るんじゃないかと思う。
I would like to have more timelines with this guy. I like Akasaka.
参ったな。
次官へは局長級に話つけてもらうしかないですよ。給料を多くもらってる人の当然の仕事ってことで。
まあそうなると局長からは絶対に大臣脅迫の物証を求められるよ
な。あの人、たまにどっちの味方かわかんなくなりますね。うちらの味方しなくてどうすんのっての。
I have an unhappy cat outside.
まあ多分大臣を経由しての圧力だと思ってるけどね。俺が時間室で油汗かいて時間稼ぐ間に調査進めてもらうしかないよな。全身の汗絞られて絞りかすになっちゃうかもしれないけどな。
Yeah, he is a much better protagonist than Keiichi.
でどうなの調査の進行は。
期待してた濃厚なラインがことごとく外れて正直途方に暮れてます。
最近の大臣発言をまとめると、ひなみ沢ダムの計画の話が目立つっていう報告を聞いたけど、それはどうなの？
目立つっていうか、本当に微細な程度の違和感ですね。たまたま県議連でのスピーチだったから時事ネタを話しただけかもしれないし。
確か地元団体が過激に抵抗してるってやつだっけ？鬼ヶ淵死守同盟。確か赤坂君に調べてもらってたよね。
僕は連中には今回の事件は起こせないと踏んでいます。ですが疑わしいところのほとんどが真っ白な以上、疑いの枠から外すわけにはいかないかもですね。赤坂君からはその可能性は否定できないとの軽い報告は受けています。
なら調べてみる価値はあるんじゃないの？しらみつぶしなんだから、残る疑わしい団体がそこ一つならやるしかないでしょ。
He needs help now. Just saying.
まあ調べる団体はそこだけじゃないんですがね。鬼ヶ淵と同じ程度のレベルで疑わしい団体になるともう相当の数になりますよ。人手も時間も残業代も全然足りません。
赤坂君からさ、もうちょっと詳しく聞いてみてよ。俺はちょっと要注意に感じるけどな、その死守同盟。
彼、村人とうまく接触できたって連絡してきました。現地の警察とも連携できてるみたいですね。
赤坂君との連絡密にしてください。それで彼からの情報が引っかかるようであれば増援を送ることもありということで。
You should do that. You probably should do that.
わかりました。すいません、片岡市長。局長からお電話です。こっちに回しますか？
ああ、いい、そっち行きます。もしもし。
You should probably send him help. I think he needs it. What's... Oh, God. This is gonna be a direct reference to 7, isn't it? Oh, God. I don't want to know where they're going with this one. Do you believe that there are choices in life? There are many people who lament the following. If there only existed points in life where there were clear choices to make, we would be able to scrutinize those carefully and make decisions that would lead us to a better future. Every time I hear people lament as such, I cast it off as a rather trivial worry. Of course, they could also be referencing UHF, but I doubt it. Even if you were given a clear choice, it wouldn't be meaningful at all, and there wouldn't be any such path to a better future. Is this hard to understand? Then let's pretend that in front of you are two strange boxes. In other words, you have two clear choices. Do you open the red box or the blue box? Okay, so this is not where I thought they were going to go with it, thankfully. A lot of things would be uncertain even with that choice, wouldn't they? If you don't have the option of opening neither, then your choice boils down to the natural impulse that opening the box it holds a better result for you. Then after examining the shape and features of each and pondering a great many things, you have to pick either the red or the blue. If this was you, which box would you open? Red or blue? If you were to go by the traditional meanings, then red would be a dangerous, threatening color. However, that didn't automatically mean it would be calm and relaxing inside the blue box either. In fact, it might be that the colors are a trap, make you wary of the red box, and have you open the blue. A trap? Could it be the contents of the box aren't a reward, but rather a penalty? Did somebody say penalty? See? Now you're at a loss. You're so conflicted over the choice between red and blue that you've started wishing there was an option to open neither and just leave. But there isn't. You have to open either the red box or the blue box. Oh, I forgot to say this, but if you choose one box, the other will disappear. So you'll never know the contents of the box you didn't open. I'll just put that rule at the end there for you. Now, why don't you choose? The red box or the blue box? It's alright, you won't lose anything by picking either one. Come on now. Oh god, we have to actually choose. We have to actually choose. Blue is my favorite color. Have you thought about it? In the end, you chose this color, didn't you? As soon as you chose, the other box disappeared. So you can give up on the contents of that one, okay? That's the rule. Now open up the box you chose. Inside the box there was a stick of chewing gum. I know you're a little disappointed. Well, that's only natural. No matter how you look at it, it looks like you drew the dud. The correct box might have had a bar of chocolate in it for all you know. No, in fact, something incredible like a pair of tickets to Hawaii might have been in there. But even if you wanted to verify that, the other box has already disappeared. There's no way you can check now. But if you think about it from an optimistic point of view, just maybe the other box was empty, and this box was the winner. And being satisfied, or perhaps not, with such a cheap prize, you pop it in your mouth and start chewing happily. So, what do you think in the end? If you were given a second chance, would you try to open the other box? But unfortunately, the chance to choose between the red box and the blue box has come and gone, never to be seen again. The chance to change your selection will never come. Don't your parents often say, every choice you make in life only happens once, so choose carefully? See? Choices aren't that great after all. Aren't you a little disillusioned now? God damn, this was like a Monokuma theater. What if we do this again? I don't know. I'm gonna do it again and see what happens. What about it? The box disappeared. A piece of caramel. The contents of the red... Ha! It knew. It knew we were going to check. That's right, the contents of the red box and the blue box were a piece of caramel and a stick of chewing gum. You might have thought you made the wrong choice before, but now seeing them together like this, you can't really say that either choice was the wrong one. Yep, I guess everybody has their personal preferences. If you prefer caramel to gum, for example, you're definitely thinking of choosing to open the box again based on that preference. The clear choices you wanted were basically this. The selfish desire to open up both boxes and compare the contents and pick the one most suited to you. But you see, reality is the same as this game. If you pick one, the one you didn't choose disappears, so there's no way you can check the result. If at that time you had done this, or perhaps you had done that, then it wouldn't be hard to imagine that you could be happier, or perhaps less happy than you are right now. In the end, you will have only the pleasure of approving or of being disappointed by the choice you did make. But that's fine. After all, didn't you enjoy the thrill of making the choice? If, like now, you knew the contents of both boxes, then the choice between the red box or the blue box would just be a waste of time. Because instead of this boring game about boxes, you could be looking at the quickly changing evening summer sky, listening for the distant sound of thunder and pondering if it's going to rain or not. That would be much more fun. So yeah, the game just trolled us. The game just trolled us by knowing we were going to pick the choice twice and, you know, getting a second set ready for us. Anyway, the glint in the demon's eye.
Eh, はい。それで、お通夜が明日の午後6時からになりまして、告別式があさってのお昼、12時から13時までになりまして。
Which part isn't possible in real life?
会場は沖宮セレモニーホールになります。
Okay, who died?
か。池澤助役のお孫さんの葬式じゃ。何にも挨拶なしってわけにもいかんね。
What? Oh,
みよ、代わりに出てえな。
うん、了解。喪服で行く？香典はいくらくらい？
学校の服でえんね。前のボタンちゃんと止めてくんねよ。香典は5万。10万包んだりな。
Damn, that's quite a bit of money.
世話になったかな。
Mion quietly whistled in awe at the exorbitant amount of money her grandmother was offering.
池澤さんはな、沖宮の事務所長だった頃からしっかりした人だったね。役人は挨拶って言っても絶対に玄関までしか来ん。
I don't think it's the same grandson.
でもな、池澤さんはわしがお茶を勧めるといっつも上がってくれて、ちゃんと話を聞いてくれた。人の話を最後まで聞く、本当に鏡みたいな人だったんね。
I don't think Ikezawa was the minister. That's just a deputy mayor. The two guests made a show of nodding, making it clear they were paying attention as Oryu reminisced. The sight of them trying not to get on Oryu's bad side was humorous enough to elicit laughter from Mion occasionally.
で、池澤助役のお孫さんはいくつで亡くなったんね。
11歳だそうで。
Oryu closed her eyes and shook her head lightly, lamenting the loss of such a young life.
確か孫は一人だ言うてんな。かわいそうにな。親より先に死ぬほどの親不孝あるめな。
ばっちゃんも他人には優しいね。あたしやシオンが死んだら同じように悲しんでくれる？
アホ抜かすんでね。演技でもねすったなんとシャラーまったく。
Having got the reaction she expected, Mion cackled. The two guests, unsure if they were supposed to laugh along, instead forced awkward smiles.
それでは本日は失礼いたします。では明日の夕方5時にお迎えに参りますんで、よろしくお願いいたします。ではごめんくださいませ。
After bowing their heads repeatedly, the guests left by the front door. Mion saw them off, waving her little hand goodbye.
帰ったよ。お役人もバッチャのご機嫌伺いに大変だね。不法なんか電話でいいと思うのにね。
Well, it was true that Oryu Sonozaki was a central person for both her relatives and the residents of Hinamizawa village as a whole. As a voting bloc, they numbered in the several thousands. It wasn't hard to imagine the mayor would try to pander to her. Unlike Mion, however, Oryu was looking up longingly at the sky from the veranda.
どうしたの？猛録した？
誰のお孫さんであろうと気の毒だのう思ったんよ。
Saying that, she let out a deep sigh. Mion was let down, as normally her grandmother would have scolded her for her attitude.
ミオ、これ例の大臣の孫。さらわれてからどのくらいになる？
4日かな。
Oryu let out another deep sigh.
旧敵の孫とはいえ気の毒だな。
そう。
十分気はせいだろ。そろそろ終わりにしちゃれな。
The playful expression drained from Mion's face, leaving behind a stern one. And then, as if to ascertain Oryu's will, looked into her eyes. Oryu, expressing her intention with only those eyes, looked back into Mion's.
お茶が欲しんで頼んでな。さっきのチョコレートも食べといね。
Mion gave a small nod, then turned around.
シミコさん、いますか？バッチャに紅茶入れてあげてください。
From far away, a voice responded in the affirmative. Mion, after confirming she'd been heard, picked up the phone and began dialing.
あ、もしもし？ミオンだけど。うちのお父さん、います？
So that's the thing. And with that, I am going to take a quick break because Cat's demanding food. And my cup is nearly empty. So I will be back very, very soon. Hopefully the music plays this time instead of cuts out almost immediately.